So, so this is an odd place to start a video, but I purchased a TWOSUN on the secondary market, and when I got it in, it was so these are the scales, but it was one of those that had that super stinky grease smell to it. And so I didn't even want to touch it because the box smelled from the outside. The knife was in a bag, and it was so bad that I just took it apart so I could get these scales and clean them up. So that's what I did. I've cleaned them up. So, you know what? I was going to put all this back together and do all that, but it's dirty and needs to be cleaned. So, you know what? We're going to start midstream. We're going to put it together and then we're going to check it out. Cuz I have washed these, and the smell is almost completely gone from that one, and it's gone from this one. So, you know what? This is a good place to start. So, let's go ahead and we're going to wipe this down. And of course, the description of the video, the description of the knife already reveals to you what's coming in the end, and you've probably already seen the final product. So it's probably odd to come in and go, let's catch this knife on the backside. But, there's just something about, I don't know, I'm not going to say I'm keeping it real or whatever, but, it just seemed silly to me. I was about to put it all back together, and then I thought, well, what am I going to do? I'm going to put this thing back together, and then we're going to, act like we're going to take it apart. It's like, you know what? Hey, man, we'll just jump in midstream here. And all I did, I took some screws out. And then I took these two scales to the sink and with some hot water, and I scrubbed them with some Dawn several times. And still pretty stinky. So I let them dry, and then I scrubbed them again. And still pretty stinky. And then I went to my standby, which I don't know if it'll be surprising or not, but my standby solvent and cleaner is this stuff right there. And the reason that it is because, let me see if I can find it here, but this product is mostly, here we go. Does it show it? Dimethyl benzyl ammonium. But the number one ingredient right there is ethanol. And so it's got a high evaporation rate, and it does a great job as a cleaner. And even on these stinky scales, you spray that on there and it evaporates, but it's a solvent and it cleans them up. It does a great job. So I use a lot of this to clean stuff that the ethanol dissolves grease and grime and does a great job. Disinfectant spray does a great job as a cleaner. All right, we're all clean. So let's put this thing back together. So one of the interesting things about this knife, and I didn't know it, but there's no steel liners. It's just this micarta scale. And if I think the thing is, if I would have known that, I don't know, man. I might have passed on this knife. If I'd have known that it was just micarta and no liners in here, because it sort of makes the knife suspect, I think, not having steel liners in it. So we'll see, because I didn't really play with the knife. It was so stinky. I mean, I could smell it, and then when I touched it, it made my hands stink. And I don't, it's just something in the manufacturing process, something in the factory. I don't know, but it leaves a horrible smell on, especially the micarta. So I don't know if it's part of the manufacturing process with the micarta, or if it's, are these the same length? Better make sure what I'm doing here. They are. I don't know if it's something to do with the manufacturing process of the micarta, or if they added the oil to lube the knife. You know, I'm not sure what the source of it is, but I've gotten a few TWOSUNs, and man, are they stinky. And it's just old, dirty industrial grease is what it is what I'm smelling. Like something from like a mechanic shop, but really old. You know, been in a, there's a collar. It's got to go on there. You know, it's been in an open container for 50 years or something. It just smells moldy, mildew, something. I don't know. But anyways, it was so stinky that just touching it made my hands stink. And so I was like, yeah, I need to get those scales off and get that cleaned up. I didn't even want to bother with the knife. But it's amazing what a little Dawn, some dish soap will do. Some Dawn, some water, scrub, dry them out, and then my go-to solvent, Lysol, ethanol, does a great job. So pretty wicked little knife. I'm actually excited for it, but it'll be interesting to see what my thoughts are going to be with no steel liners. Clearly, it's not going to be a super tough knife. I mean, like, here's an example right here. This stop pin is into the micarta and into the micarta. Like, there's not a lot of rigidity in this knife for sure. I already know. There can't be, because this micarta is going down on, on these parts, man. It's what's holding everything together. So, I don't know. Flimsy comes to mind. By design, I'm thinking. Yeah, I don't think it has much chance of being a solid knife. And is it me, or am I missing two screws? There they are, hiding behind the knife. So now the knife's taken shape, which I'm pretty sure the images are already going to be on the video. So when you clicked on the video, you already saw what this thing's going to look like. But yeah, I bought this used on eBay, and there's a seller selling several knives, and there's certain ones that catch my eye. You know, this was one, and I think I remember when this one came out, and at the time, I'm not sure why, but I didn't buy one. And I mean, looking at it kind of makes me go, well, why didn't I buy one of those? Seems like something I would want to own. Pretty slick. Alright, I wonder how, there's no rock there. Yeah, the blade's super tight in there. Now I only got micarta scales, or yeah. I mean, look at the action on this thing. Drop shut. Front flipper only. It's got this tab, nice jimping here. I mean, it functions good. Drop shut action. Smooth. So much so I mean, the detent is weak. It's kind of hard to slow roll it because, I mean, you can. Wow, that action. I gotta check for play again. I mean, maybe there's a tiny little bit of rock in there. Well, there definitely was. That felt loose. I might have to Loctite that. Yeah, that affected that action too. Maybe I'm too tight. Yeah, that's pretty good there. There's no rock in there. I mean, that's concerning here. Stop pin into micarta. I mean, how sturdy is that? Clearly you can't just be flinging that out over and over and over and smashing it into that pin, because that's what's stopping this blade, I believe, when that comes open. Yeah, that's the only thing stopping it, is that stop pin. And man, you get that wallered out, and then there's no way to keep play out of this blade. So this isn't a knife that you would want to. It's not a fidget knife for sure, because it's only going to take so much of that. Eventually, it's going to give up the ghost, you know. And there's quite a bit of flex here, which is expected. I mean, it's just micarta. You can see the flex in this. I mean, the overall design of it is kind of goofy, because to not have a steel liner in this, I don't know. The longevity of this knife, suspect at best. It's got great action. I'd say the blade's centered, but it looks to be off just slightly, leaning to the show side. But yeah, you clearly don't want to. I mean, the blade's centered this way in between the scales. It's just, by the time we get down here, I mean, I think we're centered on the backspacer, but the scale could be warped for all I know, because there's no liner to hold that straight. And I mean, I think the better thing to do here is to slow roll this, not flicking that out there for sure. And, you know, the whole idea, let's say you put this, or I put it in my pocket. I mean, is this a knife that I would even necessarily carry? Oh, my eye's itchy. It's questionable, man, because just the design of it, I'm just not sure that. How much service life would this knife have if you actually put it to use? That's the question. I mean, I don't think much. Just because there's not enough holding this thing together. Does have this dual ground blade in 14C28N. It's a TS218 Jelly Jerry design in 14C. It's got a nice fuller, but it's useless. You can't get to it. Can't spidey flick it. Can't thumb flick it. The only thing you can do here is use this thumb. But like I say, I'm not gonna sit here and fidget with it and smash that blade out, because there's only so many of those in the life of this knife for sure. And it does have solid lockup right now. So, I mean, I'm going to say that the knife's got integrity right now, but I'm not gonna sit here and flick this and then knock that pin loose. Yeah. Hey, let's check the pocket clip. It's kind of goofy. I mean, just the more I'm looking at it, the more I'm going, well, I mean, what can you actually do with this? And should you carry it? Because, I mean, I don't know. All right, so pocket clip. I'm going to go to the thinner material. And oddly enough, man, that thing ran instantly in the thinner material. Just the way it was. It doesn't have a lot of, like, it's stiff. It's really hard to get under it. But, man, in a standard pair of jeans, that thing just runs. And then I guess it lays down like that in the pocket. Is that the idea behind that clip? Runs good. I don't think it's going to run very good in the thick material. I don't know. I mean, with a little help, I can get it about halfway. So it's definitely not made for that thicker material. My spot in the back corner, I mean, it runs. It'll go right there. But I don't know. Oh, yeah, not good. That weak detent, this getting banged around in a pocket. I don't think I'll ever carry this knife. This is probably just straight up a purchase for my collection. And yeah, I wonder if it cuts. I've got a small piece of paper here. Let's see if I can make it cut this small piece. Yeah, I mean, not surprising. This thing is wicked sharp. Both bevels sticky. Very nice. Yeah, so I don't know. It's an interesting concept. If they'd have just put some steel liners in it, it would have been a pretty good carry. And honestly, it's super light. I mean, definitely less than 3 ounces. I mean, I don't know. Is it less than 2 ounces maybe? Drop shut action. Interesting little titanium. It's got I mean, that's titanium for sure it is. Yeah, titanium backspace clip thing. Wonder if I could touch the blade. Oh, yeah. Whew, that's a fail. The pocket clip's a pass on regular material. Can't get the tip, but yeah, the back of this blade right there, as just putting my finger down on it, I'm touching the blade as much as I'm touching the scales. You know, as soon as I touch the scales, I'm on the blade. So that's clearly a fail back there. Yeah, all right. Well, last time, we'll wrap it up. TS218 14C28N. Price and availability, I don't really see these anywhere. Looking, I didn't find a source for them. Not AliExpress or White Mountain or auctions for them. Just happened to find one on the secondary market. And I picked this one up for, I think, $40. So 14C, micarta, no liners, weird pocket clip for $40. Anyways, it'll be in my collection. It's just one more slot that I get to fill. So I appreciate you watching.